Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's talk. My name is Sarah Genzicke, and I'm a shepherd of the Spotify Techbytes community. Spotify Techbytes is our speaker series where we host internal as well as external speakers. Today, I'm very happy to present my colleagues Alex Krupp and Morgan da Costa, who will tell you more about collaborative learning as a way to speed up innovation. And with that, let's start and handing over to Alex.
Great. Thank you so much for that kind introduction, Sarah. We really appreciate it. Hi, everybody. I am Alex Krupp, and I am a senior product manager.
And I'm Morgan da Costa, a senior program manager.
And we are both on Tech Learning and Protean, two squads that are part of the PDX Tribe Platform Developer Experience in the platform mission. And it is a real pleasure to be talking to all of you today about collaborative learning. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about collaborative learning, what it is, why we're committed to it as our approach to technical learning. We'll talk you through how we create various types of collaborative learning experiences and why we think those experiences are really key to unlocking innovation at Spotify. We'll tell you a little bit about the impact of these collaborative learning experiences so far and discuss what's on the docket in the future. So, collaborative learning. I want to kick us off first with this quote from Daniel that he gave on the Tim Ferriss Show, a podcast in December of 2020. He said, "The world is changing just constantly, and you have to adapt to that change. If you create an environment where you can fail, that is transparent, and where you're allowed to iterate and learn on the job, you will create a learning organism that keeps getting better and better at hopefully a higher and higher pace than ever before." And so really what he's saying here is that change is the only constant, and we have to prepare our teams to operate well in an ever-evolving environment. So for us, that means creating and fostering strong learning cultures and giving folks across R&D the tools that they need to upskill and reskill to meet needs. And so change is constant. How do we keep up so that our developers can innovate faster? So I want to talk about our approach as collaborative learning. What we mean by this is it's peer-to-peer learning, whether that's formal learning, social learning, or on-the-job learning. Everything is really peer-to-peer. As you all know, collaborative is one of Spotify's core values, and it plays out all over the company. It's really deeply rooted in our company culture, this desire for collective success and working together to achieve goals. This value has a descriptor of we're all in this together, and that is really how it feels, and that's our approach for learning as well. Why collaborative learning? Well, we know that a strong culture of collaborative learning creates an environment that fosters innovation, and it does this in three ways. There are a few others, but we're going to just focus on these three. It creates larger knowledge networks, so the ability to find and connect and preserve institutional knowledge. It helps to reduce bottlenecks, so increasing team independence and speed. And third, it promotes aligned autonomy, this idea that our squads have full ownership over missions and metrics, but really need to keep aligned with best practices, strategy, and company priorities. So collaborative learning has a long history at Spotify. We didn't make it up in Tech Learning or in Protean. It's always been part of our culture. And I think a lot of you have seen this through pair programming, mob programming, knowledge sharing, through lunch and learns, and other sort of informal learning experiences. And here's just a brief timeline of kind of like how it became a bit more formal. So in 2016, there was a course that was created totally grassroots called Data University. It was created by a group of engineers who really recognized a pressing need for more data engineering skills and realized that there was a gap at the company. And they were really passionate at this grassroots level about sharing their expertise with their peers. And so throughout 2017, that group iterated on this course along with me and a couple of other people and figured out how to scale it. We learned that peer-to-peer teaching in this context, in the Spotify context, was effective. Data University students were building pipelines following their course attendance. They were innovating, they were bridging this skill gap. And in a few cases, some of them were actually pivoting to become full-time data engineers. In 2018, we formally founded Tech Learning, a team that builds courses created by Spotifyers for Spotifyers to increase the breadth and depth of our employees' technical skill sets. We started to rapidly grow the team and our course catalog, which Morgan's going to talk about in a little bit. But we realized that there's a lot more learning that happens at Spotify beyond formal learning and beyond that sort of classroom setting. So in 2019, alongside an incredible working group and a hack team, hopefully some of you are watching this now, we started researching and building additional ways to support on-the-job and social learning opportunities. And that led to the launch of Skill Exchange in 2020. And I think there's a lot to come in 2021 that we're excited about as well. But I'm going to hand it over to Morgan now to talk about these different facets of our approach, collaborative learning across formal, social, and on-the-job learning.
Thanks, Alex. So as Daniel mentioned in the quote that we shared, we have to create a learning environment that allows our teams to constantly grow and thrive in an environment that will always be changing. So to achieve this, we want to do as much as we can to create collaborative learning experiences in as many ways as we can, to ultimately create the learning environment that leverages collaboration and enables us to be the ones directing the speed of change through our innovation. So over the next few slides, we'll talk about how we've applied this belief in practice through the three main areas of learning that Alex mentioned: formal learning, on-the-job learning, and social learning. Formal technical learning courses at Spotify are created by Spotifyers for Spotifyers. They are supported by the tech learning team and teach you how to do things in the Spotify context. Our data scientists and engineers write and teach the course content with the primary goal to provide actionable takeaways participants can apply immediately within our tech environment. Ideally, you can take a course and implement what you learned the very next day. Primarily, our formal learning at Spotify happens in a classroom, or in the last year, the virtual classroom. And like many other traditional classroom trainings, instructors teach concepts and facilitate learning through application, hands-on technical exercises, and collaborative group work. In this model, learning happens also in two ways. Course participants learn application of a particular topic, and our instructors have the opportunity to present and share their knowledge and experiences as engineers and data scientists themselves. So one way that we've integrated this into our learning environment is through Tech University. And Tech University is what we call our catalog of courses organized in various topic areas, from data engineering all the way to mobile and machine learning and backend, etc. We call these different topic areas schools, and they can vary from more introductory level knowledge, or what we call breadth courses, to more advanced topics, which we consider depth courses. We also have courses that span across domains, such as code quality and accessibility. The impact of these courses vary from helping to evangelize best practices, providing supported migrations, and helping Spotifyers learn how to approach specific tasks. But overall, they focus on how we do things at Spotify. These courses also bring together people from different parts of the organization, different squads, who are working on similar challenges. A second way we've integrated formal learning is with the Tech Learning Toolkit. This is pretty new. While the TechU course catalog has expanded quickly in the last couple of years, it's important to be able to scale collaborative learning opportunities even faster. So since Tech Learning strategizes on the larger R&D level, our focus is on priorities identified from key stakeholders and leadership. However, we want to empower teams who have unique learning needs for their internal stakeholders, and we want to help them scale their formal learning ideas. So the toolkit provides a framework for building training courses within Spotify and includes many of the best practices for course development. Our second type of learning experience is on-the-job learning. On-the-job learning is happening all the time, and it has to with the speed of change. But while it's happening every day, one practice that has supported this type of learning in a more formal way is embeds. Spotify has a long tradition of on-the-job learning through embeds. And for those of you newer to Spotify, embeds are intentional short-term opportunities to work on another squad. These internal exchanges allow us to learn about new tech stacks, help solve problems together, allow our internal experts to share their knowledge, and ultimately take those learning experiences back to home squads. And squads who host embeds also benefit by bringing diverse perspectives and ways of thinking into their work by collaborating with Spotifyers from different squads and technical environments. Until recently, embeds were arranged informally through personal networks, and they really lacked visibility on an organizational level. One of the ways we've increased the visibility of collaborative on-the-job learning opportunities and continue to reinforce these practices is through a tool we called the Skill Exchange. On Skill Exchange, managers can advertise embed opportunities on their teams and include details about the work that will take place during the embed, in addition to any preferred expertise. Spotifyers can also sort the available embeds and find opportunities that best match their development, experience, or learning goals. We also encourage embeds as a way to continue learning from tech learning courses, connecting formal learning to on-the-job learning. The third type of learning experience is social learning. So as Alex mentioned in the beginning, collaboration is built into our culture. It's often the informal and organic interactions between Spotifyers like pairing and hacking that can be the most impactful for learning. These more casual interactions have previously been dependent on conversations in Slack channels or in the office. And to help provide more visibility and intention around these social learning opportunities, we've developed ways to connect individuals through common interests and the help needed with some less formal features on the Skill Exchange. So let's talk about what those are. One of those features is one-on-ones. So with one-on-ones, you can create a request to pair, shadow, or receive mentorship about a particular subject. And you can be as detailed or as broad as you need. And for those looking to share their expertise, they can also offer pairing or mentorship to others. Skill profiles is a newly added feature to the Skill Exchange, and profiles serve as an opportunity for you to share the unique knowledge and skills you can offer to collaborate with others, or the areas that you're learning. This helps invite more opportunities to identify how we can support one another. It also allows you to get unblocked quickly, finding someone who can answer a question. Finally, the hacks feature in Skill Exchange allows Spotifyers to share our ideas for collaboration, whether for Global Hack Week, Team Hack Days, or individual side projects. Individuals can express interest in existing teams or adopt an idea suggested by someone else. All three of these features, embeds, profiles, and hacks, they allow us to connect to each other faster and have more visibility to the variety of learning opportunities available here at Spotify. It also allows you to be more detailed in your searches for opportunities that best meet your learning needs and interests, which ultimately will make collaboration matches more successful and create pathways for innovation. All right, so now that we've covered the ways that we're fostering collaborative learning experiences and making it more easier than ever to learn from each other, we're gonna walk through 3 example learning journeys. The first one is with Linnea, who recently completed a Tech University course. Her goal is to apply some of the concepts she learned prior to beginning work on a new squad feature. So there are a couple different ways that Linnea can get the collaboration and the support that she needs, continue learning. She can first create a one-on-one on the Skill Exchange seeking a mentor. She could also, if, for example, she didn't have a lot of time to wait for someone to respond to her request for a one-on-one, she could be proactive and actively search skills that she's needing or interested in. For example, in this case, you can see in the screenshot, she searched for Mobius, which is a framework she learned in the course. And she can narrow her search results even further than just people who know Mobius to people in her same time zone and people in her mission. Okay, so our second journey is with Raul. And Raul, he hasn't used some of his backend skills recently since he finished a large squad project. He's interested in the backend tooling in another area of the company. So there are a few different ways Raul can practice and share his backend skills. He can first seek out an embed opportunity posted on the Skill Exchange, and he can sort by all embeds that are requesting backend skills. He can search for hacks that are looking for backend skills. You can see the screenshot there. He's entered that as a search term. And then another option is that he could actually offer himself as a mentor, or as being able to offer a one-on-one to pair with someone regarding backend if they wanted to get in touch with Raul and his skill set. All right, our final learning journey is with Cameron, and Cameron is an engineering manager, and he's looking to support his squad in strengthening their data engineering skills for some upcoming work planned in the quarter. So as you can see, there are, again, multiple ways that Cameron can support his squad to develop their skills. He can first support them in taking a tech university course in data engineering, for example. He can encourage them to seek out mentorship or other types of one-on-ones. And he can also post an embed opportunity himself for another Spotifyer to help the team cross-skill in data engineering. So he could request a data engineer come to their squad and help them with the task that they've planned for the quarter. All right, so here is an overview recap of the journeys we've just covered for Linnea, Raul, and Cameron. The one thing I just want to point out is the major takeaway here is that there are multiple ways to find the support to learn, to give support to help others, and ultimately make collaboration increasingly easier and faster, whether it's an immediate need or one that can be planned for. And now Alex is going to talk more about the impact of these collaborative learning experiences.
Great. Thanks, Morgan. So you've heard about our collaborative learning approach and the different journeys that our learners can take through the different products that we offer. But now I want to tell you about the impact that this approach has. And to do that, I want to return to the framework that I invoked in the beginning, the ways in which collaborative learning sort of translate to innovation through, first, larger knowledge networks, then helping to reduce bottlenecks, and third, promoting aligned autonomy. So let's start with collaborative learning and how it creates larger knowledge networks. So one thing I think that's really important to note here that Morgan alluded to is that collaborative learning experiences really democratize knowledge and opportunities for people across the company. And these experiences really connect Spotifyers with other Spotifyers globally who can answer questions, review code, teach how to do things the Spotify way, pass on that historical knowledge, mentor, and support on all kinds of projects, which really drives us forward. I think also we're just connecting with more diverse groups. We're bringing in more varied perspectives, creating space for more innovation in that way. And these networks really lead to the ability to access knowledge and expertise across the company for the sake of the greater good and for our collective success, instead of having it sort of just like pop up and live in these invisible pockets that are much harder to find. And a fun sort of anecdote to illustrate this. So historically, as you know, hacking during Global Hack Week has taken place in a very location specific way, right? So people who work in New York hack in New York, people who work in Stockholm hack in Stockholm, et cetera. But this year, in the Hack portal, we allowed everybody who's participating in Global Hack Week to choose anywhere as a time zone, and to indicate whatever time zone outside of that, like, you know, specific time zone that they want to select that they're going to be hacking in. But we've had over 115 hacks posted, I think, so far. And so far, every single person has chosen the anywhere time zone, which I think indicates just how we're widening our reach of who we interact with, who we work with, and that makes our knowledge network stronger and bigger than ever. So another big impact of collaborative learning is reducing bottlenecks. Collaborative learning, whether it's formal, social, or on the job, really helps people go from stuck to unstuck quickly and take on projects that they really couldn't have taken on before, whether that's a hack or a ticket related to an OKR. So a couple just like fun stats to call out here. We've had over 150 embeds created since Skill Exchange went live in 2020. More than 30 teams have gotten unstuck via an embed, which is just like so tangible, right? Like it's really clear to see how these teams are able to innovate because they have the resourcing that they need through this collaborative learning. And really like there's this ability to bring new skill sets to your team by taking a course or pairing with somebody on a project. You also can get, one thing that's been really cool about this is collect data about what people need to be unblocked in. So you can see in that red section, the top skills and domains that are requested across embeds, hacks, and mentorships. And this information helps us develop additional courses in tech learning. We know what's blocking people and can find additional ways to address it. And it also helps with workforce planning, both in the short term and the long term. And then lastly, we know that collaborative learning leads to aligned autonomy, one of Spotify's core engineering beliefs. As I said before, aligned autonomy is this idea that our squads have full ownership over their missions and metrics, but need to remain aligned with best practices, strategy, and company priorities. And formal learning is one of the best ways to make sure that people know and adhere to best practices. So our courses and boot camps have really helped to evangelize these best practices, keep R&D aligned on tooling, speed up migrations, and all things that lead to innovation. So one thing that we've sort of kind of hammered you over the head with that I want to just mention again is that our courses are developed and taught by Spotifyers. And this past year, we had 227 contributors who were involved, 131 of whom for the first time, which is incredible, from all across the company, which really helps to ensure this alignment across business units as they reach over 1,800 learners in the last year globally in more than 7 domains. And depending on the course, we track some very specific quantitative metrics and application of knowledge, as well as some more qualitative metrics like, would you recommend this course, and increase confidence in application in something. But one tangible example that I can provide metrics-wise is that we had 213 supported tech migrations in tech learning courses in 2020. And in on-the-job and social learning experiences, as you can imagine, right, there's this natural cross-pollination that occurs via these exchanges, as well as the ability to intentionally seek people out who have a specific knowledge set. And this leads to alignment while encouraging engagement among diverse perspectives. So just to kind of wrap it up, collaborative learning on all parts of the spectrum, formal learning, or formal, on the job, and social, is really deeply rooted in Spotify's culture. When Spotify was smaller, we didn't have to be quite as intentional about fostering this particular learning culture, but as we've scaled to have thousands of people in R&D, it's been really important for us to think about these things that support innovation, these larger knowledge networks, reducing bottlenecks, creating aligned autonomy through best practices, and embed those things intentionally into the company. And we've been really intentional about how we approach collaborative learning, both through the formal tech learning courses that we offer in Tech University and through the Skill Exchange platform. And these are elements of both a strong learning culture and an innovative culture. And by creating these collaborative learning experiences, we're really creating that environment that Daniel spoke about in that Tim Ferriss Show podcast, one that is responsive to our ever-changing world and allows us to keep getting better and better at a higher pace than ever before. All right, so what's next for us in this space? There is still work to do. We really need to nurture this culture, right? As we get bigger and bigger, it's easier for it to kind of fall apart. We need to keep reinforcing collaborative learning, supporting the mechanisms that make it happen, like having manager support, highlighting obvious places for conversations about this kind of stuff, like in development talks. Another thing that we really care about in these teams is supporting our diversity, inclusion, and belonging efforts and elevating underrepresented voices. One thing that we are constantly fighting against is imposter syndrome. And people from marginalized backgrounds often are less likely to refer to themselves as experts when they are, or less likely to potentially come in and serve as a subject matter expert to develop a course. And that's something that we really want to make sure is not happening. We want everybody to contribute. we are also just constantly changing these different approaches to meet new demands, right? Like the target is always moving, change is constant, we have to move quickly. So everything is sort of in a constant flux. And then lastly, we're considering sort of exporting this piece of Spotify's culture. We're considering open sourcing skill exchange and inspiring other companies to really focus on this part of collaborative learning. So thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate having you, and you can come find us in those Slack channels.